Part 17. On the third day, our job was to hold signs and direct traffic, those big red stop paddles you see on construction sites. Whenever trucks needed to pass or pour concrete, we stood in the middle of the road and stopped the cars. At first, I thought, easy job, easy money, and it was, except for one small detail: the weather. The next morning, a brutal snowstorm hit. The temperature dropped to 40 degrees below zero. The site was in a suburban neighborhood outside Denver, and that day they were pouring the cement foundation, so they needed extra people to handle traffic. The work itself was simple. The weather was not. Even though I was bundled up in layer after layer, my thick work coveralls, thermal pants, heavy boots, I still couldn't stop shivering. The cold bit through everything. My fingers went stiff around the sign, and my breath froze into tiny crystals that clung to my scarf. All these years later, I still remember that day. At one point, I took shelter under a bare tree to block the wind. Across the street stood a single detached house. The front door opened, and out came a tall, slender woman in a long black coat. She stepped out onto a green lawn sprinkled with snow, a golden cascade of hair falling over her shoulders as she held up a dark umbrella. Through the curtain of swirling snow, I couldn't see her face clearly. She moved quickly, but in that strange, cinematic way that looked like slow motion. That image stuck with me. My body was freezing, but inside I felt warm. Because it reminded me of another snowy day back in 2004, in Zhuzhou. That winter, I lived in dorm 11 at the Tongshan campus of Zhuzhou Normal University. The building was halfway up a hill, and as I walked out for class one morning, I saw a girl down below, wearing a pale pink coat. Snowflakes clung to her shoulders, maybe part snow, maybe part decoration, I couldn't tell. It was the first time in my life I'd seen snow that deep, past my calves. Dry northern snow, not the wet kind from my hometown in Taizhou. When it landed on your face, it didn't melt, it just sat there, light as dust. I remember standing on that slope, watching the empty street lined with plane trees, the thin crowd of students trudging to class, and the burst of white steam from a broken heating pipe filling the air like a fog machine. Everything seemed to freeze in that moment. Time didn't exist. The world was made entirely of images. And now, in that Denver winter, the black figure before me merged with the pink figure in my memory, both framed beneath the same white snow. February 26. Something strange happened at the nursing home today. Around 5 p.m., the staff announced a candlelight dinner. I should have known better by now, but every time they say something like that, I get my hopes up, thinking maybe this time will be different, maybe there'll be a little magic. Candlelight dinner sounded nice, soft lights, maybe some real candles, a bit of music, a break from the monotony. Of course, it was nothing like that. When I got there, the lights were all still on. No candles. No music. Just the same dining hall, packed with every old man and woman who could still move themselves in a wheelchair. The ones who couldn't, or who didn't feel like going, stayed in their rooms and waited for the aides to deliver dinner as usual. Our so-called romantic dinner was tamales, refried beans, yellow rice, and a cup of apple-flavored sparkling juice. I shoveled down the beans and scraped the filling out of the tamale, still hungry afterward. What baffled me was this: almost everyone here is diabetic. Yet the kitchen insists on serving the worst possible food: starches, sugar, carbs. Then people's blood sugar spikes, and the nurses just give them more insulin. What's the point? To keep selling insulin? Would it kill them to offer meals that don't cause blood sugar to go through the roof? I've brought it up with the staff so many times. Nothing ever changes. Breakfast is always the same: rice porridge, a roll, and butter. Every morning my blood sugar hits 260. I keep thinking one day I'll die here, not from my illness but from their menu. They even have a nutritionist who comes to talk to me now and then, but nothing ever improves. I'm convinced that job could be done by a ghost. It'd make no difference at all.